Pinocchio. Hey, how's it going?
Howdy, bitch.
Welcome to Coming Up for Air, an introspective podcast.
Gang shit, no lame shit.
I'm your co-host, Jaxon.
I'm your co-host, Brendan.
Welcome in. Today we're
The
going to be talking about how to communicate. We're talking about a lot in that kind of subject. We're going to be talking about body language, meaningful conversations, text conversation versus personal conversations, guiding conversations where they need to go, stuff like that, and then we'll also talk about like professional and work conversations versus personal conversations as well. We'll kind of get up in there, but first we're gonna do a check-in. I kind of have a two-part check-in because I want to real quick touch on. If you listen to this weekly, you'll notice we missed a week. We were not on air last week.
Hella. Shit was a little rough.
Yeah. I got a colon infection and was taken out. My stomach felt like it was being inverted for like 4 days straight.
Yeah, he had to have at least like 4 or 5 different people touch his booty hole. This shit was crazy. It was a very intense situation.
Not even. I just had to have antibiotics. Later, I gotta get a camera probed up there.
Nah, you definitely had like 4 or 5 people touching your booty hole.
Maybe like demons.
Nah, wow, that's crazy. His demons that he fights go for his booty hole. Got it. Confirmed. That's the demons.
The inner demons that I have.
They come for your booty hole. Correct. All right. Heard it here first.
We're unpacking a lot in the first 3 minutes of this podcast.
What a fucking day. And what else happened, Jackson?
Yeah. So I was in a lot of pain and discomfort in general. And so we made the executive decision to kind of not record that week. Due to my own personal health, and I don't think that I would have been able to sit through an hour-long recording comfortably without having to make a lot of cuts. And I would have been in pain the whole time, so it would not have been a good episode.
And not like the fun cuts that you're like, oh, like we were just fucking around here. Like the cuts that are like...
okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Anyway. Little TMI there, but we'll get into the second part. Brendan, what are you doing for your check-in? Hit me with it.
The new Call of Duty that's coming out. I've just been talking about it with all the homies, and it looks really cool. We've been seeing a lot of clips. Obviously, the new they like released the beta for all like the top COD streamers and shit like that, and they invited a bunch of people out to like their headquarters or whatever to go fucking. I don't think it was their headquarters, but it was like their some event
conference.
Yeah, it was like something that they owned. It was like an event that they had to.
I think it's COD XP.
Yeah, whatever it is. Invited a whole bunch of people out, and you saw a bunch of clips of like what the new game's gonna look like, how the mechanics look. They let everybody stream live there, so it was cool to kind of see like who got shit on and who's still like top dog, and like didn't matter if it was like because you got to realize like beta is like everyone is at level 1, everyone's got dookie ass guns.
Yeah, but it's still COD.
Yeah, I know, but it's a brand new COD from they realized, all right, no slide cancel, like the mechanics are a little bit different, guns are a little bit different. It's a different matchup. A lot of people are still switching on from Apex. You know what I mean?
You make it sound like the difference is like Advanced Warfare from Black Ops 2 to Advanced Warfare, where like the entirety movement system is different. Like it's honestly not that big of a change.
I don't know. I feel like it is gonna be a big switch. I mean, I just haven't played COD in forever. The last time I downloaded Warzone was like probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. First game I hopped into. Game felt so slow, and there's just so many different guns and different shit that's in Warzone right now. That's like it's not fun.
Yeah, but a lot of those people make a living playing games, so they've been playing Call of Duty still.
Yeah, no, that shit fucking blows my mind, honestly. This shit is just, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's not COD. But, yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. I'm excited for the proximity chat. Definitely can't have that on while streaming.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, and then you're just not going to be able to stream from that account anymore.
Nah, you'll be fine.
Nah.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
The type of shit that they're going to drop.
Nah, it's fine.
It's COD.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay, dude. Everyone in the fucking airplane about to drop out. I can already hear the fucking screaming.
That sound It just reminds me of like PUBG days, like original PUBG days.
I can hear it, dog.
Crazy time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough day. But I'm excited to see how everything else comes out. It's gonna be fun to play with the boys. You know what I mean? Run search. I used to love running Riot Shield RPG.
You're a fucking monster.
I would run Riot Shield RPG, 2 throwing knives and stuns.
You're literally just bait.
And we would literally run around, stun people, tell everyone where they're at, hide in corners, like blend in corners, right? People would walk past us. As soon as they walk past us, knife in the back, get back in the corner. They would tell their teammates that we're sitting in that corner. By the time that teammate is swinging on us, our teammate's coming around the corner and cleaning up. It was like a perfect system that we had. And it was like pure rage. You know what I mean? You saw someone next to a car, RPG the car, boom, 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 next. You know what I mean? Like, it was like we were pure chaos. You know, it was such a good time.
I'm just excited for the skin rush, the like racing for gold.
Oh, I feel you.
It'll be fun.
I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, you should. It'll be a good time.
I definitely want to be a part of that. I don't want to be left out. All right, bitch.
As long as you're playing with us.
Damn, bro, you see the shoulder shrug? That was crazy. All right.
As long as you're playing with us, you won't be left out.
Hey, bro, that's crazy. That's wild, bro. All right, bro. What's your part 2?
Oh, for my check-in.
Yeah.
I want to talk about setting up a content plan for all the stuff that I've been working on. I kind of realized that I really want to kick it into high gear on some of the stuff for like YouTube and Twitch and everything, for like the content that I make. Even with the podcast, there's some stuff that I really want to kind of like kick up a little bit and make better, and then start working on it as like side projects for it. There's nothing quite like getting sick to really make me motivated to get a lot of stuff done that I want to work on.
Just kind of like sitting in your own thoughts.
Yeah. It kind of like really lets me, because when I get sick. Like I don't want to move. Like,
I feel you. I'm the same way.
bed.
Like, if I get sick, I get put down.
Yeah. But I obviously spend a lot of time thinking. And so I have been kind of trying to play, and this is something that I was thinking about before I got sick too, but I was kind of playing with what I want to do with my YouTube channel and stuff. And I think that I'm going to have it to where I'm going to start editing down my streams a bit and making videos out of that. And then as I do, like, I can also make side videos and stuff. And then in the background, like over time, because I'm going to work on the video essay still, but it'll be as a leisurely thing, as a thing that like I write scripts, because writing a script for those things can take a while, and then you have to record it, edit it down, get the video that you want, edit that down too, and do all that stuff. And so, and then I like to try and get them proofed and somebody to view them and stuff before I upload them. So I think that the video essay portion of it, I'm going to kind of make a long-term thing of like, this is something that I'll just kind of dish out as I can pump them out and work on them in the background. But I really want to get on my YouTube and start making that stuff so that that can get popular, so then the stream can get popular, and then they help each other grow. And I can make it into more of like this is an actual thing that I'm doing more.
Oh yeah, I feel it.
And then when it comes to this, you know, I really want to start putting our feet in the ground and getting this, like, we need to get our content up and stuff. And then I want to start playing with the idea of like a side show of like doing that like we just interview people, like the 5-minute interviews that we just upload as like side episodes.
Yeah, like the shorts, or, you know,
yeah, that go up
TikTok
like,
or something like
whether
that.
it be like it's something that goes up like once a week also, or it's once every other week. We do like a bi-weekly for those.
No.
You know, there's a show that I listened to, the last podcast on the left. They do a thing called Relaxed Fits, and it's basically like their main show is at bi-weekly, and then in between that they get their actual show, or their main show is weekly, I think still, but in between it they do Relaxed Fits whenever they need time or whatever it is. And those will just be like random news or whatever the fuck, like it's its own show and one of the people isn't in it anyway.
That's fire.
So it's just kind of like setting up a plan and really trying to put my feet in the ground and be like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm setting up a stream schedule and kind of have an idea of like how I actually want to go about making content. Doing the 100% series is really kind of like also lit a fire under my ass of being like, this is something that I'm enjoy doing. live is like trying to complete these games and doing stuff like that.
No, I feel it, dog. I actually just started learning how to use like Adobe. The homie had basically me share my screen and then him share his screen of like how he uses Adobe. I'm like, you know, what he does for like transitions and like how he like goes about like just like finding shit and like in what order to like put everything and using the cuts and stuff like that. And like, I know like you had showed me like different frames and like scales and stuff like that. And like setting up all that shit and just like also talking to him about like, you know, kind of like doing it for dummies, you know what I mean? So that way like I understood it and actually tried to put it together. So I'm slowly trying to like put these fucking clips together and like take it from the program that I had outplayed for like Apex and stuff like that. So I'm trying to put them together and stuff like that. So
Nice.
I feel it.
All right, I think we're gonna dive in to our main topic.
Fun times.
So
my favorite thing.
So we're definitely talking about how to communicate today. And that obviously is a pretty broad topic that I think we can zero in on some stuff with, and that I think we will probably end up coming back to.
I just realized how that could be portrayed, and I meant the topic and not diving in. You know what I mean?
You're good.
And I just realized that which one you had laughed at, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I was like, oh, shit.
But I think this is definitely something that we'll probably hit a couple times throughout the run of this show, given how important it is, and we'll probably hit like more specific stuff with it. But anyway, Brennan, one of the things that you kind of wanted to focus on was conversations in person versus conversations in text, and kind of the difference between those two and what that can equate to. Let's kind of start there.
Yeah, I feel you. I think the biggest thing for that is like, obviously so many people, especially in today's world, like so many people are stuck in the social media era, stuck in like, all right, bro, like, oh, I can just text them, I can just call them, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like so many people talk about important ass shit through text, you know what I mean? And that's how so many different things get like miscommunicated or misconstrued. You never know, you know, what type of emotion or how somebody's saying it, you know what I mean? Like, I always try and like, if we're going to talk about something important, like, hey, bro, I'd rather talk to you about it, like, we could hop on Discord, or we can hop on like where we can be voice to voice. You know what I mean? Call. And or even like a phone call. Phone call is not even that bad because at least you're talking to that person, you're hearing their voice. You know what type of like you know their intentions and their tone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like so many people just like, I don't know, they rely on text so much. You know what I mean? To like get everything across.
And it's funny because if you go back like a couple years, even I'd say even now, it still has a bit of a stigma of like texting, breaking up over text was like a very big no.
Yeah, and now it's like
hey, that's not cool, man.
Yeah, that's like that's fucked up, bro. And then like, everyone kind of goes about their day.
Yeah, but it's not like hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that honestly it is kind of fucked up. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Or like even breaking bad news, like breaking bad, even like breaking hard news to people or like things that are rough is now, it still can be commonplace.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, but you know what? We're some fucked up people. Some shit gotta happen that way.
That you just completely mitigated your whole argument in one sentence, in 3 words. It happened that way.
No, it's just it previously happened that way, but we're learning to be better human beings. You know what I mean?
I think that there is an amount of self-control you kind of have because a lot of people really are used to the like instant gratification, the like 5-second reward, or like the I want to have this conversation now because it needs to happen now type of mindset. When actuality, like heavy conversations are things that are conversations that mean a lot to you, or something that you are excited about, or whatever it may be like that. The importance of having that conversation in person or in some form of like not text can really make or break how you even feel about the thing after. There's a lot of times where like I've seen people that are super excited about something and then they text someone about it and they kind of like they get almost dissuaded, or they lose that passion or that drive about this thing because the person that they were excited to talk to about it didn't have as good of a reaction as they wanted.
They put one less exclamation point than they usually put, or they didn't fucking
all caps lock.
Yeah, or they didn't fucking ha your message or some shit like that.
Ha excited, not ha funny.
Ha not ha funny. Ha like I'm gonna beat your ass.
Oh my god!
What a goated ass video, bro. Oh man. No, yeah. People definitely take a little bit too serious. Like the little things in texting. You know what I mean? And that's where like sometimes like bro, just call me. Bro, just FaceTime me real quick. What you need, bro? What's up, dog? You know what I mean?
Do you remember when that was like a couple years ago when that was the thing? Nobody ever said call me. They were like FaceTime me.
Yeah, because you get to see that person.
Such a weird thing.
I get to see your beautiful
I feel like it's
face.
faded a little bit now, but like
I'm gonna call you at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I will literally start sobbing.
Or
will be awake.
I'm gonna FaceTime you at like, oh no, we'll do like 6 a.m.
I will definitely start sobbing and be so upset.
I'm gonna FaceTime you. You're gonna be like, what's up, dog? I'm gonna be like, I just wanted to call you, say what's up.
And then I will start being upset. Because at first I'll be like, he better be fucking like, something better be happening. Not a morning person.
Hey, I got you, bro.
Anyway, talk in person or call.
Yeah, bro, talk in person. Learn how to fucking...
A lot of people also substitute it because they don't want to have hard conversations or uncomfortable conversations.
Here, you know, it's almost like we've been doing this for a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I was really going to ask you. I was like...
No, blow me harder. Keep going.
So... So obviously there's people, right, that after COVID and even before COVID, right, obviously people had social anxiety, right? COVID made that shit 12 times worse. Hey, go fuck yourself.
But it really did not like that
one. Go fuck yourself.
But it really didn't.
Because I pride myself on not only blowing up Jackson's head, but also being the one to let the air out sometimes. You know what I mean?
You really said, not haha funny, haha weird.
Yeah, bro.
Weird shit.
I'm not the one for that. Thank you. And regardless, COVID.
Running a tight schedule today.
Yeah, have to. Got to get back to it. Social anxiety. You know. Jesus. Social anxiety. Obviously. Are you good, dog?
It's the meds.
Obviously, people dealing with social anxiety after COVID, it's been very like... I think I got it at some point, and not like as like a contagious like fucking flu. It was just more of like a talking to people.
The real COVID was their conversational skills dying.
No, damn near, dog. Because you had people like okay, when you first met me, I would used to not give a fuck about hollering. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still don't care about who hears me, bro. I'm just more about selective about when I do it. You know what I mean? When you first met me though, I was yelling 24/7 nonstop. I didn't care what was happening. I could talk to anybody. And I honestly did talk to anybody who was willing to fucking listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just like, I think after COVID and even during COVID, obviously being inside all the time, not really talking with most people, it kind of just like chilled it out. And it was just like, I'm going to just hold on to this energy. And then the energy kind of just, the social battery kind of just dwindled. You know what I mean? Like little by little.
Yeah, it's called exposure. That's what exposure therapy is for, is you slowly induce situations that would make you more and more comfortable, so you gain more and more of like a resistance or a aptitude for something. Yeah,
and now I can only do it for so long. Like if I go into a day of working, especially working in the service industry, after I'm done working, I don't want to talk to nobody.
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen those videos or those things where it's like people who have like stutters or really, really bad social anxiety, they push them into social situations, and obviously like in a safe, comfortable manner. But they push them into social situations to slowly make that fade away and get their social battery to be greater and then get more comfortable and confident. And so the only way to regain a social battery is to slowly push your social battery like a muscle.
Yeah.
give yourself
And I give yourself what? Give yourself what?
give yourself exposure therapy.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I've always been like, at least for the past like month or two, I've been telling myself I need to talk to more people and like get out a little bit more. But also in the same sense, I'm like, yo, fuck everybody. You know what I mean?
You know, at a point it boils down to a choice. But
Yeah, it's a little back and forth, but like I think the biggest thing, like for people who don't know how to talk to, like have those like obviously face to face conversations, like I think the first thing you need to understand is like when it comes to having conversations with people, you have to have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be a confident human being in yourself.
Not even just that, but even like faking it. Fake it till you make it, because tell yourself something enough, then it becomes real. And I think that kind of pivots into having meaningful conversations, and that's where you really start to get into the thick of like conversational skills, and when they start to increase is your ability to have meaningful conversations in any regard. Because the moment that you can have them with your peers is the moment that you can slowly start to expand that bubble. And I guess it starts kind of with like, what does having a meaningful conversation really mean? And I think the definition is kind of different to everybody, but for you, Brendan, what does a meaningful conversation consist of to you?
I don't know. I feel like having a meaningful conversation is anything, like you could be talking genuinely about anything as long as it adds like any type of happiness, any type of knowledge that you end up learning, any type of lesson you end up being taught, or even just something to like put you at ease. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like people just have those conversations like we had talked about it in a previous episode. Like sometimes people just want to talk and not be spoken back to. They don't want to respond.
They want to be heard.
Yeah. Sometimes people just want to have somebody like, hey, bro, I'm just going to unload a bunch of shit onto you, probably give you a hug, and we don't have to talk about it. And that's still a conversation just because one person isn't talking, you know, back. You know what I mean? But at least you're allowing that person to unload whatever they need to back on there.
Yeah.
And it's a type of release, especially for the people who build up shit. You know, me being one of them, I've always been one of those people where like I build up all my shit until I can't take it anymore, and then at some point a super small thing ends up fucking make everything go boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's been a huge thing for me, is like sometimes just like always having like, I've been lucky enough to where I always have homies that like, obviously we just smoke and just be talking about shit, or even like with you, like you don't even smoke or nothing like that, but there's times where like we kind of just sit back and just talk about some random ass shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even though we are kind of going back and forth, we're both kind of just like subconsciously just talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And kind of just letting shit off our chest and shit like that. You know?
Yeah. For me, I think that a meaningful conversation is when you are talking not just to talk. You're not just saying things. And this is coming from somebody who very much just says things. Like, I love to tell jokes. I love to like just shoot the shit. I love to just say things in the middle of a conversation because it'll make somebody laugh.
Like, blow me harder.
Yes. Blow me harder, daddy.
Wow.
Clip it, bitch. But like, I'm literally the type of person that if if a conversation is happening and I
can
whip enough to like make somebody laugh, then that brings me joy. But that is just talk.
Is it because you're a quirky guy?
Yeah, I'm so quirky. That's why I've got dyed hair. Fuck you. But I think also that, especially like, there's a friend that I have, we've mentioned him before, but Jarek, he is definitely one of those people who, whenever I'm talking to him, for the most part, if it's not just like us playing games and stuff, it is like, and it's just us talking, we're both very much people that want to have conversations where it's not just talking to talk. It is us saying something meaningful, something that actually progresses a conversation forward or causes us to think and have a conversation at a level where we both are contributing something to impact the way that we either think about something or forwarding our relationship, and not just in a like, me and you are closer because we both laugh a lot. together and share funny ha-has.
Ha-has and hee-hees.
Yes.
Hee-hee.
And I think that that's something that's really hard to do with people that you don't consider close friends or that you don't have like a really strong relationship with. But it also is something that is super, super easy when you get comfortable talking to carry over into normal everyday for yourself. You know, the moment that you kind of are able to talk to that coworker that you are kind of cool with, but don't have that like a super strong relationship with still, and kind of be like, hey, how are you doing? And like actually talk to them about like what's going on in your life, you know, like what, and obviously don't approach it like that, but like, you know, whenever they say, oh, this thing is happening, and then you go, oh, tell me about that. What's causing you some stress with like your family? Because sometimes that's something people will mention, like, oh, some stuff with my family's going on that's rough.
Yeah, and I think the huge thing is never like, I think obviously everyone's guilty of it sometimes, but never being like, I think I definitely do it a lot, and I know I do, and I catch myself doing it after the fact, but I'm the type of person where I try to relate to it, and then at that point I ended up taking away from that person who's trying to tell me their thing.
Yeah, don't make...
You know what I mean?
If a person is trying to open up to you, especially if it's somebody that it's kind of your first time really...
Like talking to them?
Yeah, talking to them and them like being vulnerable with you in that way, make sure you don't make it about you.
Yeah.
There's times where comparing an experience you've had can assist in a conversation, but that person has to know where you're coming from, and you definitely have to know how to gauge that. Because there's definitely a lot of times where like that will neutralize a conversation, and that person will just feel like they just kind of made it about them.
Yeah, and at that point they just kind of give you like, from like that point and down, it's kind of like, all right, long story short, I'm just gonna kind of like wrap this up, finish this up, and then they're gonna be like, damn, like that sucks, yada yada, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, you're good, but, and then just like continue on with the conversation. Like at that point I feel like that's when people start shutting down.
Yeah, or they're like, I don't really want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
But the moment that they feel heard and you go, oh, this is some advice I have, and you don't necessarily, people don't need to know why you have the advice you have.
Yeah, and I think
even if you literally just say like, I've been there before, and that's where you leave it at, and you say, this is how I would solve this.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing is like, even if you have been in that situation before, sometimes like, yeah, sometimes it does help because like, obviously you have like the knowledge of it, but even being like,
and it can make somebody feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There are those cases, but also in the other cases, it's more of like a, kind of like how you said, hey, this is just the advice that, you know, if I were in your shoes, this is what I would do. You know what I mean? It sounds like from this perspective, you know, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible from this perspective. You know, it looks like this, and this is what I would do. You know what I mean? From an outside person, like POV. Because I feel like as soon as you try and make it about yourself, people just shut down.
Yeah, which is kind of into one of our topics, which is guiding conversations where they need to go. And for that, you kind of have to understand basic conversational flow. You have to understand like how people respond to certain things, and the way that you make somebody feel when you say certain things, which is a lot of like emotional intelligence and knowing body language, which I promise you is, if you're listening to this because you are somebody who has social anxiety, or is like, this is something that I think I could really benefit from, is learning how to conversate on a more like frequent level or a casual level. This is the biggest thing. Body language is so important. Body language and emotional intelligence will guide you and help you through every single conversation you will ever have. And it's not as hard to learn as you think it is.
Yeah, and I feel like, obviously, I feel like not enough people talk about it, but I feel like a lot of people do talk about it. It's like a little like, I don't know. It depends on what pops up on your shit, I guess, but eye contact.
Eye contact is super important, but
like staring in someone's fucking soul.
But
like
also,
just fucking,
it is person-to-person basis, because there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, who are really awful at maintaining eye contact.
Yeah,
and I say that as somebody who I think that I'm amazing at it. I think that I'm really, and like that's not me trying to like blow smoke up my own ass. Like I think that
no, you're over there just sucking your own tip. It's whatever, dude.
This is what happens when we skip a week.
There's no fucking shot that you just... Nah, bro. Pause that. Nah, bro. Absolutely not. That's crazy.
And this is also what I've been told from other people, at maintaining eye contact. And now you're just staring at me and like looking at me anyway. Yeah.
Little bitch.
But it's super important because, and that gets into body language, because maintaining eye contact shows confidence. It shows you are comfortable with that person and talking to that person in the thing that you're talking about.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Someone who can, like, if someone walks into the room and can take the eyes of everybody, like, not even like in a like a, oh, that's a baddie type of way. Not more of like a, oh, that look like a serious ass motherfucker. Like, that look like somebody, like,
that's somebody who knows what they're doing.
You know what I mean? Like, you can tell, like, oh, that's a real motherfucker right there.
And if you want to know how to do that, it's literally like standing up straight and being able to survey the room. And whenever you make eye contact with somebody, you don't just immediately like drop it. You kind of just like eye contact, keep moving forward.
Yeah, assert the dominance, motherfucker.
Yeah,
you know what I'm watching that I've been trying to tell y'all to watch? Peaky Blinders.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, bro. Peaky fucking Blinders. But that man Thomas Shelby is a fucking thug, bro. That man is an actual animal.
Brennan actually has to shut the fuck up about the show.
Nah, bro. Hey, if you watch Peaky Blinders, you know, dog. Peaky Blinders is that shit, bro. That man's a fucking animal, bro. That whole family is some fucking thugs, dog.
There's a lot of really, like, you know, those types of videos, dude. Like on YouTube where it's like how to get women and stuff like that, and like, or like it's awful.
It was just your delivery on.
It's all those types of videos though, you know, like, or it's like practical psychology, like,
and it's like
the videos,
body language.
Yeah, it's like body language. Number 15, Burger King butt betties.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to find in your Burger King burger is somebody else's foot lettuce, but that's what happened. Anyway. I'm falling apart.
I'm glad. You see what happens? Like, this is such a... You see how this is a 50-50 team here? There's episodes where I'm just like, y'all are just like, what's going on with him?
Carrying the show.
And then, no, it's quite the opposite for most of the time. And then there's times where it's like, is Jaxon okay?
And that's their clip for this episode.
As I look over to, is Jaxon okay? Yeah, no, that was beautiful. Good timing. That was good shit there. I'm glad we could agree on it.
My coworker literally looked at me today, and we were just fucking around because we were dead, and I was like, imagine everybody in the restaurant looking at us and just being like, this fucking ADHD ass bar. And then she was like, yeah, no, I super have ADHD. She's like, there's no way we don't. And then I looked at her and said, I don't have ADHD. And she said, yeah, okay, honey. I was like, damn.
You were like, all right, bet, for sure.
Fuck.
Way to call me out like that.
Rude as shit. Anyway.
Guiding conversations.
Learn about body language. In all honesty, like, there's a lot of things that body language is applicable to, of like, when the way somebody stands and the way that their body reacts whenever you say certain things.
I was going to say, learn people's triggers. You know what I mean? And like, just like, and it's hard to like know, like, obviously everyone's like, I know everyone's triggers, but it's just more about understanding a common like denominator of like.
Yeah. If you learn the common, you can learn individual.
Yeah. Like you can kind of, it really is common sense. The common goes with common sense, because once you go from one to another, you can kind of be like, oh, this topic, or I probably shouldn't go down this road. You know what I mean?
Even this is a really, really good visualizing exercise that you can do if you were like, I don't have the slightest idea of body language. Close your eyes, and whenever I say these emotions, think, oh, like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Titties.
So if I say like anger,
titties,
and the first thing about somebody's like bodily reaction or like the motion that they do is like them crossing their arms.
You're a real one for that.
Is them crossing their arms, and like, you know, they take a step back, they like fall back onto one leg and they cross their arms. Then that's usually what you can look for. There are things like that where I say this to Brendan. I say, hey, Brendan, you look like you gained 20 pounds.
I would say, go fuck yourself.
And then Brendan crosses his arms as he's kind of like, and it's not an immediate reaction, but it's like the conversation continues and he's kind of crosses his arms at some point whenever he's talking to me. And that is a sign that like Brendan is closed off, or he like pulls his body away from me so he's not as turned towards me.
I have heard that if someone is not like facing you while they're talking to you, that it means that they're not like as interested. And I was like, I've never really known.
Yeah, if I'm facing more towards you, if I'm open and like directly facing you,
like in your shit.
Yeah, I'm
obviously
more inclined to be participating in this conversation.
Yeah.
That's why it's always really bad to talk to somebody about something important whenever they are working. Whenever someone is like cutting something or whatever, and they are very focused on that thing and their body is not facing you.
And then you tell them some fucked up shit and then they lose focus and they end up cutting their finger off.
Well, like if
there
that person stops cutting and then looks towards you and they turn their body, that means that they are trying to actively be invested in the conversation.
And then Jackson cuts his thumb.
But, you know, that type of thing, like,
no.
Those are all small triggers that can really show where a conversation is heading.
Yeah, and especially if it's like sensitive topics. Understand that like with sensitive topics, there's certain like obviously there's like certain avenues that you can go down. You know what I mean? And then there's also just like no man's land. Like there's just certain things that like you just don't touch. You know what I mean?
At least in like common everyday conversation or with like normal like day-to-day people.
Yeah.
Your friend groups can kind of vary on where that no man's land is, but like there's general pieces of like, hey, this isn't something that societally you really want to talk about because there's a lot of opinions or whatever it may be, you know.
And if you're just a good fucking human being and you love everybody equally and you just understand and respect everyone's mind and fucking body, you shouldn't have a fucking problem. But, you know, there's some shitty people out there.
Not even just that, but like we're human. Everybody has different opinions on things. If you took me and Brennan into a room and asked us questions, there's thousands of things we will disagree on.
110%.
And even if it's like the minute detail of like how you should go about a certain situation. But that's an everyday thing.
Me and Jackson, I think, would go about
every single situation pretty much different.
No, I think like probably a good 95% of situations. I think we'd have like a sliver of fucking
overlap. And I think that kind of dives us into understanding when to bail out of conversations and kind of like things that are when a conversation is going really negatively, when it's kind of like diving into a bad direction, when to kind of like, okay, this is time when I pivot or I leave this conversation.
When you're in the hole, know how to dig yourself out.
Or know when to just be like, fuck it, I should stop digging. Conversations are like flying a plane. You need to always try to be, it's like flying a plane in the storm or with a shot wing.
For the most part, you really want to be the one in control, right? Or at least try and just guide it to where it's going to land safely.
Guiding it to where it will land safely. That's why I say it's like a shot wing.
Right. But sometimes you really just want to sit in that first class seat, get a nice view and of just like your demise. You know what I mean? Sometimes you really just like have to just let shit go and then watch it just blow up in front of you. Because sometimes it's really not worth your energy.
Yeah, I guess. Sometimes it is not worth your energy, but I wouldn't say that that's like watching your demise. It's more just like the plane is not going to land on the strip. It's going to land downtown.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about this before, but it's so tough. Like, obviously, talking with people, knowing how this is going to come out, and then it's going to be like, all right, bro, I feel like this is how this is going to happen, yada, yada, this, and then they're like, nah. And then it's exactly how it turns out, and then you're like...
People are predictable.
Yeah, we are predictable. We're all human beings, and I feel like all human beings are very predictable.
But at the same time, there's a lot of, like, arrays, so it is... We're not predictable. We're, like, commonplace predictable. And when you learn somebody, you can kind of be like, okay, this is how this conversation is going to go. But that doesn't necessarily always apply. And I think one of the biggest like examples for how to lead a conversation that's going bad is when it comes to like flirting, or, like trying to get with somebody. Because that's the most common place that you will see conversations go horribly wrong. Is whenever somebody thinks something is, you're at one spot and the other person is clearly not at that spot. And it's the most notable to the people that are on the outside of the conversation and the person who is not comfortable.
especially when that person like tries to get like advice and then they like bring out the whole situation, and then this person that they ask advice kind of like looks back and like sits at this whole like they look at the whole situation, they're like, oh, this person's in a very fucked up situation, and they don't realize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny because I know you're listening, Kratos, but coworker had a situation where he was like, "You're supposed to wingman me."
Oh, I think
I told you about this, but it's basically like a conversation where he was flirting with this person, and I didn't wingman him. I kind of pivoted the conversation hard.
You kind of reeled it back in for him.
I gave him a hard time, basically.
Yeah.
The conversation, he was basically flirting. The conversation was not going where he wanted it to because the girl was uncomfortable. And it was very plain to see she was uncomfortable. And so I gave him shit. And that was my pivot out of that situation. And then he gave me a hard time and gave me flack and was like, hey, you're supposed to like wingman me. What the fuck? And I was like, I am wingmanning you by not letting you crash.
Facts.
I'm having you land in the river because that is the safest spot you could be, because the other option was landing on the
in a
elementary
mountain.
School.
In a mountain, literally. You're killing yourself and a bunch of people.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to take the shitty way out, which means the conversation didn't go well, but you didn't make it worse.
Facts. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can walk off a conversation that kind of got a little uncomfortable, kind of went a little south. And that doesn't mean that you can be like, I like your hair smell. And that will go over well later. I mean that like you try to be like, oh, we should super hang out like next Thursday. And then they're like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I could get there, you know, whatever. Like, yeah. And it's very clear they're not on that level with you yet. So they kind of pivoted away. And then you're like, oh, well, then when works for you? And you try to make it work is when it starts to get bad.
No.
But whenever you go, oh, yeah, for sure. Well, if you end up having a time, let me know. And that's your pivot out. That's how you leave.
And then you go, disappear.
Yeah, and literally, like, it's the same thing as, like, people have a bad stigma against, like, when you're in combat games of, like, retreating. Like, retreating is seen as cowardice. Leaving a conversation where you are not reaching your goal is cowardice, or it's bad practice. In actuality, it is the smartest thing you can do because it keeps you going.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like, you do see a lot of people who suck at seeing those social cues, and a lot of people who suck at, like, noticing, like, not saying, Kratos, I'm not saying that you suck at, like, noticing.
I am. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well, Jaxon is, but no, I am not. But I think, but, like, I'm sure Kratos has seen it, too, where, like, you see kind of, like, two people talking, and you're like, that looks like it's not going too hot. Like, bro, we used to do that at the bar all the time, bro. We would just be like,
and this is the best way that you can learn what those social cues look like. People watch. When you go out to eat, look at what other people are doing.
Listen, I'm about to put y'all on, bro. You want to go on a fire-ass day, bro? Go get some fucking ice cream, sit on that bench, and people watch, bro. You ever people watch and talk with somebody?
Yeah, like you're in a 2000s movie.
Nah, bro, that shit is so much fun, dog.
Welcome to the Hallmark section of the podcast.
Nah,
or Goodwill Hunting.
No, bro, you gotta understand, bro. People watching, and then, like, especially when you and the same, like, you and your other person or whatever, like, I guess fucking, like, y'all fuck with people or, like, make fun of people. Not make fun of people, but, like, kind of bag on people the same way. You know what I mean? No, like, have fun.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and y'all understand it, but when you guys do it, like, almost the same way, and you kind of just keep bouncing off each other, bro, that shit is probably one of the most fire things in the world. It doesn't matter who it is that you're sitting next to, but when you and that person can fucking click, bro, that shit is so much fun.
It's really good.
That shit is lit.
But
love that.
You said that something that a lot of people struggle with is understanding when a conversation is going south. What do you think? How do people start to see those signs? How can you tell when a conversation is going south, or what do you do to be better at being, like, emotionally aware, I guess?
Well, I mean, for me,
conversationally aware.
I think for me at this point, I mean, I've kind of been bad about it. Well, not bad about it, but I've gotten to the point where if I don't feel, because obviously I talk with a lot of emotion. I talk with my hands. Like, I'm a very like passionate person when I talk, yada yada.
You're Italian.
I'm Italiano. You know what I mean? I'm a businessman.
I'm a businessman.
Oh. Hey, you know they have Italians and the mob in Peaky Blinders.
Yes, I know.
Just letting you know.
There's gonna be a counter on the screen every time that gets brought up.
It can be an ad. Just gonna throw it up right here, Thomas Shelby.
They're not paying us.
Fuck. I was talking about something. What was I talking about? My train of thought. You see what happens? Oh, go ahead.
You got it?
No, I don't. Because I was gonna
when conversations go bad.
How
to tell.
Oh, I was gonna start with the Italian shit again.
Nope.
You kind of notice off rip, I think. Like, you notice when you either have somebody's attention or like, if it's like, I don't know, it's different when it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to a complete stranger, you know off rip if like you really have someone's attention. 9 times out of 10, it's kind of shitty because people who, I guess on the social scale of being attractive, if you're more attractive, 9 times out of 10, you just walking up to somebody and talking to them, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to sit there and listen anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
what's that called?
Pretty girl privilege?
Yeah, but
or pretty people privilege, I think it is.
Pretty people privilege.
Yeah, because it kind of goes both ways. Like, if you see a pretty dude walk up, like 9 times out of 10, like everyone's kind of just gonna like sit there and kind of just like look for a second and listen.
Damn, Leonardo's here.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and then they're gonna listen to him talk and like, you know, judge him for his voice and kind of do a full comparison on this dude. You know what I mean? And it kind of goes both ways. And you know, as sucks as much as it sucks, you know, obviously those more attractive people get hurt a little bit easier, a little bit more often. They're given a little bit more freedom to kind of just walk up on people. Obviously, like, you know, it's really fucked up because in the same sense, like on the opposite side of that scale, if you have somebody who's not as attractive walk up, 9 times out of 10, you have people who kind of freak out and then off rip call this person, you know, a creep or, oh, like, I don't want to talk to you, you know what I mean? Or no, thank you, you know, like off rip. Don't even get to like hear this person out. And it's really shitty because you don't know what type of nice person you're turning away. You don't even know if this person's trying to come at you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, maybe they just want to be homies. 9 times out of 10, obviously, like, they're probably trying to speak game, but like at least here to
old Gabe who works at the gas station overnight.
You know what I mean? Like
the Circle K.
Yeah, like the Circle K, you go buy your wraps at, the dude finally worked up enough for them to fucking he's got an eye patch and a fucking hook.
I've been waiting for you to come back in.
And at that point it's just like, all right, like
I just want to say.
See, but it's always tough because those type of guys always like to pick on people who are like you know you should not be talking to that person about that.
I haven't felt some type of way like this since I had my hand.
Those tough days of bottled water. Like those people should have. I need you to stop with that look. I need you to chill out. Those people should have looking out. Like he has a hook. He should be waiting for a woman who comes in with like a peg leg. Like that's like.
Okay, hold on. Now we're getting ableist.
You know, no, but I'm just talking like.
Oh, Gertrude walks in, hobbles in, and I get all excited.
You know what I mean? Like that. Hey, bro, like, that's all you, dog. Go crazy. You know what I mean? Go stupid. Yeah, bro. Hey, bro, I'll oop it to you. You know what I mean? I'll be like, hey, my man's behind the counter. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. It's crazy how that conversation just completely shifted. But anywho,
comedy podcast,
all good things. Yeah, bro, body language. Understanding when a conversation is going bad. 9 times out of 10, you'll know off rip if you're doing a good job or not. And
wow, what a non-helpful thing.
I mean, common sense, because a lot of people try. Again, a lot of people.
But we're talking about the people who do struggle with it. You know, how do you give that? What is the thing that you tell?
Being
somebody?
honest. You want me to be straight up with you? Be honest. Hey, I'll walk up to somebody. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really suck at approaching people, but the reason why I'm coming up to you is for this reason. You know, the reason why I'm approaching you is because, you know, if you're approaching a female, if you're approaching a man and you're, you know, genuinely sometimes like really nervous about that shit, like, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, like,
you look bussin' today.
You know what,
in
Jaxon?
some form or another.
You know what? That's exactly what Jaxon tells all the females that he gets 110%. He walks up to them, hey, girl, you look bussin' today. How about you come home with me? And they go,
shoddy,
okay.
You looking like... Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brain short circuit.
Looking good on Too Thick Thursday. You know what I mean?
Damn, shoddy. You do be walking around on shoddy Saturdays. Double thicked up.
Nah, yeah, we're cutting that for sure. We're definitely cutting.
I like how you say it like you have any choice.
Yeah, no, but I need you to never let.
Well, now I have to keep it.
No. I need you to never let anybody in the public ever hear that sound bit, clip, whatever you want to fucking do with it. Throw it in the trash.
Okay. Let's do another take. Let's do another take. Ready? You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta line me up. Ready?
Yeah.
That's how Jaxon gets all of it.
Oh yeah. That's how Jaxon get all his females. You know what I mean? He just tells them those like super. Hey, you know you dumping, bro.
I couldn't find a jumping point. Yeah, I'd be walking up. I'd be like, "Damn, shoddy, dim legs for miles, dog."
We're done with this.
Ever been to the coast?
Oh no! Ever been with an e-boy is what you should say.
Wow.
Yeah, Jackson's an e-boy.
This is such a fucking bit. Oh my god.
Jaxon is such an e-boy.
Because I do have to cut a section of it out without losing some of it.
Jaxon is the e-boy. He is the top tier e-boy. If you are looking for an e-boy,
You think I'm an e-boy?
Yeah, 110%.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Why do you think I'm an e-boy?
Because I think you just fit the description of like
Tall white guy, dyed hair.
Dyed hair, PC whiz, but like low key on like there's that scale we were talking about that society likes to deem attractive or unattractive, and you just so happen to be on the blessed side of that scale. You know what I mean? So when you have somebody who's
You're saying I have pretty privilege.
Absolutely, 110%. Among us, yes.
Monkey.
I think you do at some point, or you know, to a certain extent, absolutely. And I think you're just now starting to realize this because I think enough people have told you up until this point that you're a very attractive human being.
I think that we need to stop having this conversation on the podcast.
And in like it's been in like a friendly way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is gonna be our best episode.
No.
This is gonna be the one where all the ha-has and the hee-hees are, and also the most people will feel like they learned something.
Hopefully they learned something about us and what we're trying to
themselves.
Talk about.
It was the knowledge we shared along the way. Don't fucking look at me like that.
Yeah, Jackson's definitely on 10 today, y'all.
That means it's a good episode.
You know what? You're right. That's fine. Good content. No, but yeah.
Music.
Don't be a fucking weirdo.
She got me so hypnotized.
Don't tell somebody that they are whatever the fuck Jackson.
Your hair smells delicious.
Yeah, don't say whatever the fuck Jackson's saying. I mean, it works for Jackson. Jackson's the type of person to sniff the mic. You know what I mean? And it works.
I just turn around and immediately go, "Oh, sorry, it's from a movie."
No, Jackson just. You know what he does is he's
gonna get hurtful.
He puts down almost like a kickstand, right? It looks like through his pants, right? And then he actually just he it almost looks like he's skydiving, right, in midair. But like you can't see what he's leaning on. You know what I mean? And then he goes,
"What do you mean you can't see what he's leaning on?"
Because it almost just like blends in. You know what I mean?
What do you mean it blends? It's not camouflage.
Yeah, it's like a lizard. You know what I mean? It's like an iguana.
Iguanas don't have fucking camouflage. That's oh my fucking god. It's not geckos either. What the fuck?
You know what I mean? And then you're just kind of like this, and then you look at him and you go, yeah. And then you look at him and you go, you ready? And then at that point, it's just kind of that. You know what I mean? But that works for Jackson. If you're like everybody else,
Mom, no hands.
Well, you guys get to have Jackson a little bit longer, because goddamn,
nobody's ever said that. How do you
willingly?
Willingly? Wow. Oh, I think that this episode is so fucked.
Oh man.
When it comes to conversation, there is so there's uncomfortable conversations in a personal aspect and then a professional manner as well. And I kind of want to talk about that really quick. I want to talk about how to deal with uncomfortable conversations and just conversations in general when it comes to a personal level, and then we'll quickly hit the professional one because I think those are very different situations. How do you handle uncomfortable conversations in a personal manner?
I think it's different for everybody, obviously, but
There's general advice.
for me, I think the biggest thing that I would try and do is be like, I don't know, kind of address it as if like there was like a what
No,
bitch?
keep going.
What,
keep going.
bitch?
Please keep going.
I think the biggest thing for me would be one, understanding the situation, obviously. Understanding the person who I'm talking to, how sensitive they are, is what I try and just kind of base what most of my shit is on. Because 9 times out of 10, like, you know how the conversation is going to go if you know the person you're talking to. You know what I mean? Kind of like how you said. Like, for me, a lot of my interactions, or I guess even before, I'll try and, like, talk about it, I guess, beforehand. But, because now, obviously, I don't really talk to a lot of people, and you know what I mean? But I guess beforehand, the best way that I try to deal with...
Flex, but okay.
And not a flex, but it's just I don't talk to a lot of people. It's
Just keep going. It's fucking...
Yeah, hold my dick. Getting out of an uncomfortable situation, or even just obviously realizing it, it's just more of like a, hey, I don't know where this conversation went wrong or like what I did, but my bad, dog. And 2, is there any way where I can fix this? What, you know, like what and where did it go wrong for you that you feel like this? You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to kind of tell, whether it be in someone's tone, whether it be in someone's body language, the words that they're saying. 9 times out of 10, like, you can really tell when something's like off with somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think that there's never necessarily like a positive way to leave an uncomfortable conversation, like where everybody feels good.
Yeah.
I think that there's always going to be a bit of like, I don't feel great. And there's not really a good way to get rid of that unless it is like you had this uncomfortable conversation and you are still going to hang out for multiple hours and there's time to make that cease by having fun with them or whatever, you know, and it pivoting to lighthearted after. I think that in my professional life, when it comes, or my personal life, I mean, when it comes
your professional life,
when it comes to having uncomfortable conversations, I literally experienced this the other day with my friend who's really good at, I wouldn't say that, who really, me and him have a better understanding of how to have these type of conversations with each other. And he does a thing that I didn't realize he does until just this last conversation that we had. And it's really smart, which is having this conversation with somebody and asking them how they feel about a certain topic. So what we were talking about was involving, it's something that we haven't talked about a whole lot. And so he kind of approached it as like, hey, this is something that I've been thinking about in common practice of like the way that we as a society view this thing, and realizing like that it's kind of something that people will need to talk about because it is healthy. He kind of approached it and was like, this is something that I want to talk to you about, and I kind of want to know where you're at. And it was really fucking smart because the conversation led away from that, and then he rounded back to it. He kind of got how I felt about it and tried to make it clear it's something that he wants to talk about with me more, but he wants to kind of see how I feel and what my mindset is on this thing, which is really smart. It is a way to gauge how a conversation will go. Don't necessarily hop straight into the thing. Kind of figure out how you want to get there. Figure out the way to bring it up that is comfortable and natural and makes the person feel the most welcome in that environment, because the moment that they feel uncomfortable or like they're being put into a box or in a situation that they cannot maneuver out of, they will shut down. They will not want to talk anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, bro, I'm kind of done with this.
Or they'll get hostile.
Yeah.
They will like immediately kind of pivot it. Be like, well, what about you? Like, why don't you do this thing?
Well, yeah, because
And then
it's almost like
more of an argument than
it's like an instinct. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you corner an animal, like 9 times out of 10 they're gonna bite you.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Keep going.
You're goofy. You're goofy.
The Tourette's.
Yeah, would it just
Just keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean 9 times out of 10, yeah. Like if you corner somebody into kind of just barraging them with fucking questions or opinions and hey, or jumping to conclusions or whatever the situation may be, like you have to give somebody some type of out. You have to give somebody like
Grace.
Someone like some room to fucking breathe, some room to fucking talk. Like
You got to come up.
you know what I mean? Like you got to be able to be like, all right, bro, this is how I feel about this situation. This is where I'm at with this situation at this point. You know what I mean? I'm now going to give you this space and area to be able to talk freely about how you want to or how you're feeling, how you see the situation, your end of it. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, if you just fucking come at somebody or, hey, bro, this, and this, what the fuck is this? What's going on? You know what I mean? A lot of it is delivery too. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we always talk about like, hey, bro, if I ever get worked up on something or if I ever get super hot on something, 9 times I got to take like a 5-minute break just to like collect my thoughts because I don't want to say something out of pocket I don't mean.
And I think that, and that is super important. That is something that like I stress so much to everybody is like whenever a conversation goes really south and you are getting angry or you can tell the other person is getting angry and uncomfortable, don't be afraid to be like, okay, let's come back.
We'll
come back to this.
Yeah,
And that person, if that person is not you in the situation where you are not the one realizing I'm getting heated, I'm going to say something I don't mean, or I'm going to make this situation worse and you're not the one to step it back, then know that the person is immediately going to be like, no, I want to finish this conversation.
No.
9 times out of 10, they will. And your instinct is going to be like, all right, we're going to keep going. You have to put your foot down.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, dog.
And it's hard.
When I give people that option, they're like, nah, let's do this right now. Then that trigger in my head flips and I'm in your shit. Yeah, but especially if I'm hot.
But you have to learn to kind of like nip that in the bud and be like, I'm making this decision.
Yeah, you know what's funny, bro?
It is not a suggestion. It is happening.
Have you ever seen that trigger flip in my head?
Yeah.
Like, really? I feel like you have too.
I have.
Because like there's times where like you can just like I've been told like when people have seen me like really, really angry and like that fuse kind of switch, like it's almost like a like there's just certain people that like it's almost like you feel it in the air type shit. You know what I mean? Like you genuinely feel that shit.
It's funny because me and Brendan one time got a little heated in a conversation we were having on Discord. And I was the person who was like, no, I want to keep talking about this. And you were the person who was, which is not normal.
Oh, yeah.
Because normally I'm the person like, I'm just going to step back. But you were like, we could go back and forth all day, but I think we should stop. And I was like, no, and it was because I was dead set that I was fucking right.
Yeah.
And I still think I am, but it doesn't matter.
Hold my cock.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't even remember fully what it was about, but I was fucking dead set. And it was, and like, it wasn't until later that I was like, damn, Brendan really did go like, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, we're done.
Yeah, we're just going to step
and that's the thing is, you have to have that willpower to be like, this isn't like me saying, hey, do you want to? This isn't a question. This isn't like,
just put it
option.
Down.
This is this is happening.
Put down the fucking bomb before it goes off.
Be like, we're done. Like
take your hand off the grenade, put the slip back in, and put it back on the floor.
Let's quickly talk about the professional end of this, which is a little bit harder to navigate. We both have been in management positions.
Yeah, I forget about that.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago.
Yeah, it feels like it, and we're.
It's crazy that I was 19, 20
supposed to have those conversations with people. Now it's a little different for me because for almost every job that I've been in, I have been in management positions or higher up positions where I'm either training people or in charge of people. And so for me, that experience goes a little different because there's a part where I also had my personal and professional relationships mingle. And I think at our old job, that was a lot of what our situation was, is like having those hard conversations is also with people that are part of your personal life too. So how do you go about having those professional, uncomfortable conversations where you are talking to an employee or like a coworker and kind of have to be like, hey, I don't like when this happens, or hey, you cannot do this. You were effectively like drawing a line in the sand or telling this person like, hey, you're in trouble.
Are you talking as if you are in a position of management?
A management or a coworker that something happens with that you don't want, like that you don't like, which is I think is more common.
Yeah, I'll start with that
which
one.
Is a line in the sand.
Because there's kind of like in the workplace, it's like there's like a ladder to it, and depending on what industry you're in, it kind of fucking sucks a little bit more than others. Like in the service industry, we see it a lot. Favoritism and ass kissing gets you a lot farther more times than not than hard work and a good work ethic.
Yeah.
Because if your manager fucking likes you, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna take care of you, whether you know how to do your job.
You're gonna get better shifts. You're gonna get better positioning.
Whether you know how to do your job good or not, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get fucking taken care of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's gonna be shown. But then when it gets called out, 9 times out of 10 people are gonna be like, "Oh no, it's not even like that." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Athlete kid in school.
Basically, you know what I mean. There's always a teacher's pet at someone's job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And unfortunately, those are usually the people who like to take their power trips because they're like, oh, I'm not going to get in trouble. Manager's my dog, yada, yada, this and that. 9 times out of 10, those are the people who like to just fucking cause problems because they can. You know what I mean? And it always sucks because going about those conversations, like, even if you go about it the most, like, cleanest way in the world, like, you know, if you try to come to that person, you know, human to human, and you're like, hey, bro, listen, I really don't appreciate when you do this. You know, I feel like, you know, you make me feel so-and-so when you say this or do this, you know what I mean? And then that person's like, well, that's not my intention, so deal with it. You know what I mean? You have so many people who are like, oh, that's not even what I meant, like, to try and do. Like,
yeah.
Like, how could you feel like that?
And this is one of the big things that I always say in conversation. If you're trying to get better at conversating and dealing with, like, uncomfortable conversations, the worst thing that you can ever say in a conversation to somebody is, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Because it immediately tells the person you don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, at that point, then that whole argument is just completely shut down.
Yeah, and people notice it. Like, people will definitely go, that person did not fucking listen to me.
Yeah, and, you know, I think if it's like on a coworker standpoint, then I guess just try and, like, obviously if they're not cool with that manager and it's like kind of like an actual fair ground, like, basis, try and obviously work it out with that person. Depending on the severity of it, I would definitely let somebody else know. And then if that person continues to try and do something, or you continuously feel uncomfortable, like, obviously let a manager know. Get HR involved. Just because, like,
that's literally what they're there for. A lot of people get really scared to get HR involved, but, like, that is, they are human relations. That is their literal job.
Yeah, like, they went to college and all that shit for it, bro. Like, they
is to handle worker disputes.
Yeah, and with that, you know, even, you know, HR sometimes gets a lot, you know, very shady because a lot of people don't like to do paperwork. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's so much that goes into it, and it's very fucked up how it gets handled a lot of the times. But that's kind of like why people don't even try. You know what I mean? But you never know unless you try. You know what I mean? And, you know, make it heard. And if you have to, I think people just kind of, because, oh, it's like, oh, it's just another restaurant job, or, oh, it's another, you know, coffee shop job, or, oh, it's another, you know, garage job, or, you know, wherever the situation is at. Like, yeah, there's other places that are the same way, but also in the same sense, like, speak up. Don't be afraid to have your voice be heard, because you might be the one person who might start something and change.
Yeah, other people can feel that way.
You know what I mean? Because if you know that there's other people that, you know, have been working there for a minute and shit has been going on, and, you know, they can't say anything, you know, you might have the opportunity to be able to say something and speak up. You know what I mean?
I think that when you have professional conversations that are uncomfortable, you kind of always have to tiptoe a little bit more. You have to be careful, but you also have to be very direct with what you're wanting out of it. So sometimes even setting that line of like, okay, hey, this is what this meeting is about. This is what this conversation about is this thing, this topic. It is like, I don't know, for example, it's like, hey, I want to talk to you and I want to talk about the way that you make me feel whenever we interact.
The way you make me feel. A banger.
Or song. It's like, hey, we're having this meeting because of your attendance at work.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, you have a really bad attendance or you show up late consistently, which is a problem. Appeal to people's humanity, because there's a lot of, or if you know that this person is not going to work that way, appeal to their selfishness. Make them understand. You have to appeal to things that will work, and sometimes it is their selfishness. Make them understand why this is an issue. Talk to them and really make them be like, this is why this is a problem. It is because it impacts a team, and now people have to pick up your slack, which puts stress on your peers, which are people you say you like or are your friends or whatever, you know. It is a kind of a shitty game of manipulation. But that is how a lot of professional social interactions go, is you need to make sure that both parties have the end goal in sight and what you want to achieve, while also making sure both parties are comfortable and happy the whole time. Which means usually at the end or throughout, you need to check in with that person. You need to be like, hey, are you comfortable? Do you understand what we're talking about? Is anything that I said, like, what do you feel like I said?
Yeah, because especially if you say something and then ask somebody like, all right, what did you get out of what I said? 9 times out of 10, like, it's good to hear how they processed it.
That'll take people aback too.
Yeah.
They will go like, wow, because that makes sure that you understand they're actually listening and processing what you're saying, and you now know what they got out of it.
And also it kind of helps you learn, because if you start to see like a consistency of what people get out of what you say, you kind of see your own tendencies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it be good and bad.
And it can also help you to where you are less emotional in a conversation, or make somebody less emotional to where they doesn't feel as personal or attacking. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should come up. We're running a little long, which is going to be good because we missed last week.
All good things.
And there's also going to be editing, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Brendan, what do you want to talk about? What are you coming up on?
Movie day. The movie day. Yeah. Jackson's movie day. It was honestly a lot of fun. Woke up late. Showed up a little late. Went and got a bagel at Einstein with Jaxon and Shay. Slamming bagel, by the way. That Chipotle shit on there was fucking fuego. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that shit was that shit was beautiful, bro. And then the first one we watched was Fight Club, which was a beautiful movie. Shayna had never seen it. Fight Club is just a fantastic fucking
great movie.
Yeah, bro, like that's just really all you can say about it. It's just a fantastic. By the end of it, you're just like, oh my god, what the fuck? And yeah, it's beautiful. Second movie was Knives Out, which is your murder mystery.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies.
And with the girl who pukes when she lies, and the kind of, I guess, corniness of it.
Yeah, it's like a modern Clue almost. It's super dynamically shot. It's really well done.
It is shot really well. I will say that the scenes that
shot beautifully, and it's one of the most. It's a very vibrant movie, which I love. It's got a lot of color and personality.
The house was fucking just filled with colors.
Yeah, filled with color. There's a lot of like really like nice hidden stuff. Like there's eyes in a lot of scenes for whenever like certain stuff's happening, and like it's meant to show like there's a lot of symbolism in this movie. But it's very much like a modern day Clue in the sense that it's a whodunit, with a detective and everything. It's very fun.
And it's got James Bond in it. Had Captain America,
Daniel Craig,
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is Captain America. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first movies Chris Evans had that after being done with the Captain America role too, which is really awesome because he's like a complete asshole in it.
Oh, I forgot his first name, but I think I said his last name's Lancaster, the black detective.
Yeah, I can't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure his last name's Lancaster.
I can't remember.
I forget his first name, but he's a really good actor. I love him.
He's really good in that movie too. He's funny.
But yeah,
it was. He's not in it a lot.
Yeah. Knives Out was a good movie. And then we went and got some fucking chips.
We went to the
got
store
some
really
drinks. We went and got some Soda Delicious. That shit was fuego. And then I think from there we were kicking it. I was smoking up some bowls. Sorry for stinking up your house that day, by the way. What else? Oh, and Tenet was the next one? No, what was in between those two?
Fight Club, Knives Out, Upgrade.
Upgrade was a crazy movie. Upgrade was indeed like a mix between like Matrix and like Terminator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like it came out before Venom, but it's kind of the same vibe. And the guy who plays the main character,
it looks like Walmart Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he's like literally like he's Tom Tardy. Like
he is literally Tom Tardy. He's the cable version of Tom Tardy.
Like he sounds like he's really good though.
Tom Hardy's in Peaky Blinders. I already told you.
We talked about it literally when we were watching Upgrade. But it's a super good sci-fi cyberpunk movie. That's about like an AI chip, and this guy trying to get revenge for his wife.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. Definitely one of those like it's got like not like a slow build up because shit kind of pops off quick, but it's like
it's a 90-minute movie, so it's real quick.
It's like a slow boom and then takes off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you have a slight little like peak,
it's a
real
slow
quick.
Start that like
just
climbs.
It literally just once
it just keeps going up.
Once it takes off, you're in for a ride, like strap in type shit. And then after that was Tenet.
Yeah, Upgrade real quick because I do love this movie.
No, Upgrade.
If you haven't watched it, go out of your way and watch it. Do yourself this favor, especially if you like action films and sci-fi. It is so good, and it has really, really awesomely shot action sequences and some of the best body acting I've seen.
Yeah, that shit was wild. It was definitely one of those like, oh my man. The knife in the knife in the mouth and shit. That shit was crazy.
He has a knife. We have a knife too.
And then Tenet was just a mind fuck. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, Tenet. At the time of recording, is Christopher Nolan's newest movie.
I thought Tenet was. It was like, oh, I kind of understand what's going on, and then something happened, and then you were like,
no, you don't.
That's not at all what I thought was gonna fucking happen. And then they run through another portal, and then you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then you're like, oh, I think I'm
inverted.
And then you kind of catch on, and you're like, oh, I think I know what they're trying to do. And then it happens again, and then you're like, what in the fuck is going on? And then
the movie,
honestly, you get to a point where you kind of let it just ride, and you kind of just sit in there. The movie
honestly gets so much better on multiple rewatches. And it's a rare thing that happens, that a movie like
I feel like you have to watch it multiple times for you to understand it.
Well, like most movies, you could watch it twice and you get something out of watching it the second time because you see a lot of like the
with Tenet, I'm sure you have to
secret stuff.
I'm sure if you watch it 8 times, you learn something every single time. Yeah, it's
one of those movies where like multiple rewatches past the second rewatch benefits you because you learned so much stuff. And it all makes more and more sense. And it's just a really, really cool film. And my boy's in it, Robert Pattinson. Love that man.
We're going to have to fucking clip it again, tag him or something like that. We're gonna have to honestly,
dude, if Robert Pattinson responded, I'd lose my shit. That'd be like, that's my peak. I'll never come back.
You go, I can die a happy man.
Yeah, is Robert Pattinson being like, love, you're awesome. Or like, much love, dude.
Yeah, imagine if he sent you like a video, hair flip and everything, bro. Oh,
I don't need like a hair flip. That's fucking weird.
Nah, bro, you would definitely just like fucking nut yourself 100%.
I just wanted to say hi.
I just wanted to say hi, man.
What a cool guy. What a weird fun guy.
What a guy,
What
man.
a weird fun guy.
Oh man, but yeah, movie day was lit, honestly. And then we ended with cold beer and cheeseburgers, and I think that cheeseburger absolutely ripped up my stomach. But it's okay because we got through D&D, and
It was a good day.
it was a good day. Hopefully, we don't die from that dragon.
It'll be fine.
What about you, big guy?
This is gonna be something that I'm gonna quickly touch on just because we're running real long, and I have to edit this. But I kind of just really want to quick talk about how people look at me and like where I want to be and stuff. And it's something that I realized bartending has honestly like really pushed it overboard the past couple shifts. Because here's the weird thing. Today happened, Jesus touch, faith touch, is when I'll have a couple customers and it's just like I click with people. And it's a really nice thing whenever that happens because it's like I can have this constant, like I'm constantly telling jokes and obviously as a bartender, your job is to be personable. Your job is to kind of make the person laugh, feel comfortable, make sure they're serviced. I really like to try and keep people laughing, keep the mood up, keep them like having fun. And then I give them room to like breathe, do their thing. And then I'll come back in and do the same thing and kind of build it up. And this guy was talking to me and he was like, you know, I really think that you have a different type of mindset about a lot of this stuff because you seem so confident and careful in your speech that you want people to be happy and comfortable, but you also try to be careful in the sense that you make sure that everything that you say doesn't cross a line. And I was like, well, thanks. That like means a lot. Because like I feel
obviously
like,
in today's world,
and I feel like I am kind of calculated with a lot of my speech, especially in my professional environment. Here's probably one of the more casual places where I'm publicly talking a lot more loose.
Yeah.
But it was nice to hear that, and then he said something that like kind of fucked me up.
Where it kind of just hit you, and you were like, oh,
he asked me. What do you like this job, or do you just kind of clock in every day? And I was like, I mean, I like talking to people. I was like, I like making people's day and learning about people. And that's what makes me like this job. I like that. And he was like, your motivation and willingness to do your job is not the same reason that most other people would keep the job that they have. He was like, eventually you will probably move on because I imagine you don't want to be bartending forever. I was like, you're right, I don't. But he was like, no matter what you'll do, you'll probably always pick something that allows you to do that. And that's something special because most people don't give a shit. And then a couple days earlier, I had a lady who was like, I know this is really random and really weird. And it was at the end of her meal. And she was like, but I just want to say, you have a super calming energy and presence. And being around you is just pleasant.
That's always lit.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing to hear. And then, an hour later, two people sit down at the front of the bar. I'm talking to them. I'm doing comedy club shit, right? And same thing. The girl kind of looks at me and she goes, hey, I just want you to know your presence is just like pure joy. It is like you, like she was like, you look like you live off of making people happy. And seeing that is like just a thing of happiness. Yeah. Like it is a burst. Yeah. And it's kind of like a weird thing that I'm beginning to realize about myself is one of the things that I should be the most proud of, one of the things that I should be utilizing the most is the fact that I care and that I can bring people happiness just by bing bong, just by being myself naturally and caring can be something that is helping, not necessarily always trying to offer a solution to something.
Yeah, being a caring person, being a nice person is always one of those like experiences where someone's like, oh, at least like there's still somebody out there who is a good person. You know what I mean? So it's always good to have like those interactions where people say shit like that because it always just makes you feel like, damn, all right, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway,
Good shit, dog.
made me feel good, and I kind of wanted to just,
Throw it up in there.
yeah, it's nice positive interactions.
Yes, sir. Good energy there. But yeah.
Light thing to end the podcast on. You're loved. You're cared for.
Baba geese.
But Brendan, that's gonna wrap us up for today. Where can they find you?
Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. Killer B420. I had to think about it real quick. 2 R's. TikTok, Killer B Dabs.
Nice.
What about you?
You can find me at RQ, ARKHEW, because I had somebody tell me that they don't know how to spell it.
Well, hell yeah.
Yep. At Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter.
What about your OnlyFans?
And OnlyFans at
You gonna drop it?
Jack Frosty.
Oh,
That's different.
yo.
It's not that one.
That would be a hard ass OnlyFans. Jack Frost with the silver hair. All right, bro. Hey, we're gonna get Jaxon an OnlyFans, bro. We're about to. Yeah. Hey, tune in for it. We got y'all.
That's not it. That's not my OnlyFans.
Nah,
Anyway.
no. We're gonna tune. Oh, I forgot you actually created one like
Oh.
on some fucked up shit. Imagine you just been getting rich this entire time. And
Where
you
can they
just
find
haven't-
us, Brendan?
Oh man, you can find us at Coming Up for Air on Instagram and Up for Aircast on Twitter
And TikTok?
and TikTok.
And TikTok. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to rate it and subscribe to the podcast. If you feel like this is an episode that somebody could hear, or you know something in the past that somebody could hear, share it with a friend. It really does help out the podcast, and it is our only form of growth.
Bitches. Love you guys.
Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week.
Later, gang.